What's up, everyone? This is Andrex, and this is the Leo King.
Welcome
to Elektronik Generation. We've got a great show tonight. We've got a clip from Marcus Schultz, exclusive clip from our show with him at Omnia. Also in the house, we've got Kevin Weil from Bad Royale. He just came off of a 20-trip tour with Steve Aoki. We also are going to be talking about the Leo King's race, his jet ski race.
I feel like I'm gonna die already.
You haven't.
I'm surprised I'm standing up right now. Good thing I've got a motherfucking Sprite in the house.
The whole crew literally has. I don't think anyone has slept from the weekend.
No, I don't think anybody on this show ever sleeps.
Yeah, I know that Kevin literally didn't sleep either, so he literally came off the plane. So, but yeah, we're gonna show. Actually, the first thing I want to talk about. I want to thank everyone out there because we've been receiving amazing support, and this is our third episode, and the amount of support and love we've been getting is just I'm pretty speechless about it. It's incredible, and we've got a lot of great, amazing things lined up. I was on the phone all week with a lot of people that are. It's gonna be a nice surprise when you see them on the show. Put it that way.
Have you ever seen Andrew on the phone too? It's like he's like little Superman walking around. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Oh, yeah. And I really mean like what Andrew says too, that the support's been awesome because we really started this show from like scratch, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is kind of a new concept. There's not a lot of real dance, EDM, electronic video, live stream shows out there. And so honestly, thank you for going with the growing pains, and it keeps getting better though.
It does. It does. And you know, the great thing about this show is it's absolutely organic. I have a vision, so do you, and somehow it just works without us having to really say anything to each other. And
it's like DJing a little bit.
It is, and it's kind of like that's why. It led to the show at Time recently, and some upcoming shows with Omnia this Friday. We'll talk more about that, and also an upcoming show at Avalon. But right now, we'd like to play a recap of how the weekend went for us, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about that. So let's roll the recap. Marcus Schultz.
Hey!
I got this thing going called Elektronik Generation.
If you try and bump it up.
This has to be about we.
It's true.
Check this out. You're running the top venue. Boom.
Happiness is the key to it all.
What else?
Alright, so we need to make this a plan right now.
That was what that whole show is about.
David.
We're out here live at Body Beach, and I'm trying to get that extra mysticism going to win.
Where's that mysticism at?
Actually, it's from the magical hawk tail that I have. Anyway, long story short, we're deciding on what boat we're going to run, the Sea-Doo or the Yamaha. Lots of questions on this moon in Gemini today. We will figure it out though. My wife is wearing my jacket I just got her from China. That didn't fit me. That's a men's medium. But in China, a men's medium is a woman's extra small.
So you're really going 100 miles an hour?
No, I do 80. That boat does like 83.
Even 83 is insane. Like,
okay, think
in
about
a
this.
regular car, 80 is like, that's nuts.
You know, I know this show's all about electronics,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's
But-
electronic too.
Oh, dude, that thing is
That's super
electronic.
high-tech.
Not only is it a full digital gauge cluster, but not only does that boat have a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder motor supercharged that I have about 400 horsepower in it on your crotch, but it tells you every algorithm of how many gallons per minute you're wasting, how many miles to the end of the tank. I mean, it's crazy now. But yeah, 83 miles an hour in the freezing cold. It was 41 degrees when we launched in the morning. So my hands were numb. My face was numb. I mean, it's gnarly.
I don't know how you do it. And then you come back here, and it's just
Doing this.
that's like the water electronic world, and this is more like the
digital world.
the Earth kind of. But that's kind of like the same thing. But I mean, like, I always think you do that because it helps you balance.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, my passions are astrology, spirituality, and house music and DJing, right? Like that's my shit, right? Jet skiing is my vacation.
Got it.
What a
That's
sad. My wife's like, what a sad life we live. We don't ever sit on the couch. We don't ever. But actually, maybe it's not a sad thing. I don't know. What do you do on your vacation? Music?
Pretty much.
And your job?
No, you know what?
You meditate. I actually called you the other night.
Or
Last night before that. And tell me about the meditating that you've been doing.
So meditation is, it's people think that I think people think I'm weird when I start talking about meditation, right?
No, you know how many celebrities use TM all the time?
I know. Well, I found out, and then I was like, okay, this is actually legit because Russell Simmons does it, and
Jerry Seinfeld is a big promoter of it. Yeah.
So there's a lot, but some of these guys, a lot of people still don't know about it. So I didn't really talk about it, and then not only that, but it's just it's not like a drug that you take and just gets you there, right? It doesn't take you. Honestly, I'm used to it. I'm used to alcohol and like fucking just a substance that just gets me there. But meditation, I started it about a year ago, and I actually learned it doing some research. I found out that Steve Jobs meditated, and that turned me on. And then automatically, like, well, fuck, dude, if the inventor of the iPhone, iTunes, and like
Mac.
Everything, yeah, exactly. So all the latest cutting technology that we're still benefiting from. If he's meditating, I'll give it a shot. And
do you do that before? Like, you were at Omnia this weekend.
Yeah.
What did you do right before you were at that set for Marcus Schultz?
I always found it, like, I got this from Russell Simmons actually. So Russell Simmons, he meditates 3 times a day, in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. So I try to get one meditation session in, at least 15 to 20 minutes, sometime in the day. And it's great because it clears my mind, it clears your head, and no matter it doesn't matter how stressed out I am or how big of a deal a situation is. I completely let it go with meditation because here's the primary concept of meditation is being in the present, not worrying about your mistakes or what happened in the past, not worrying about the future, what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you, and this thought came to me this weekend, and it kind of like I've had this thought several
blew your
times,
mind a
but it
little
blew
bit.
for some reason, you have a recurring thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes at a different stage in your life, it has different meaning. I don't know how to.
It's true. No, or it'll die, right?
Yeah.
Finally,
And
you
it'll
never
come-
thought that reoccurring thought will die, but it does.
But it comes
Thoughts
back
are
with
weird.
new meanings. So my recurring thought was, if I had a heart attack or a tsunami hit or earthquake, and all these things are super fucking plausible, right? Because it's happened. We've seen it happen throughout, and I know people that actually have just been hit with cancer and heart attacks like that. And it's not like God gives us a heads up. Hey, you know what? You're about to get a heart attack. Get your happy thought on. You know what I mean? So my thing was, if that happens, how do I want to go out? Do I want to go out like be depressed or unhappy or thinking about the past? Or, it's like I always want to be like, every minute should be valuable, like the minute we're spending here. You know what I mean? That's why I think this works, because we're this is our passion. This is what we're doing, engaging with the audience.
Yeah,
it's the moment. This is as present as we can be.
It's the truth. Well, that's why I jet ski, because it's full throttle, baby. And when you're
Yeah.
at that moment, the last thing I'm thinking about is what I did yesterday, or do I have to take a shit right now? Or, like, is it all gonna work okay? Because all I'm focused on is staying in the moment to make sure that I don't die.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't wanna die. So it's like, you don't think about anything except, well, I guess there's the winning aspect.
Well,
so I like competition.
the thing I noticed about you, and this kind of hit me right now too, and I've kind of been, noticing more and more, and now that you were explaining it, and I just kind of dialed in, is you are the type of person that needs to be like, here's all 4 channels. All 4 channels needs to be running and clipping.
Yeah.
You need.
Well,
you
no, I
need
won't
that.
clip, even though some people
yeah.
might think I clip. I
Well,
don't clip.
actually you're right. But all 4 channels are running.
Yeah, I want all
Yeah.
4 channels running, and I do want to actually use all 4. And I do.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am the kind of guy.
yeah.
You'll see me up there. I'll throw samples on other parts of the CDJs, and I like to mix. I'm a
You're
ADHD times 12.
No, but
So meditation for me really doesn't work because I'm just like, so if
Yeah.
my meditation is in the water at 83 miles an hour, that's where I'm silent.
No, I get it.
That's sad.
no, you're getting it. You're getting that. You're getting it from another source, and you found it, and that's what's important. I was looking for it in a lot of different things, and when I found meditation, I was like, wow, this helped me balance my life out. So it's been amazing.
But
Omnia-
did your show go well?
It was.
I mean, let's be real. The week
yeah.
before, Ferry Corson, and then the week right after, Marcus Schultz.
It.
And you got interviews with both of them
I know,
within the
you know.
same week, so literally it's only within a week of time.
Things happen for a reason. That's all I gotta say. Cool. Here's the thing, Marcus. If you guys, for people out there that don't know this, Marcus and Ferry are like this. They actually have a project called New World Punks, but Marcus and Ferry is probably one of the best friendships in music, and I want to emphasize that word, because when you watch their Royale, and this is Ferry's documentary really, but Above and Beyond's in it, Cosmic Gate's in it, Armin's in it, and Marcus is in it quite a bit. And the way that Marcus talks about Ferry, just with not just with respect, but with so much fondness, it's kind of like, wow, this is fucking awesome, because this is how it should be. This kind of like, because there's so much. What ruins music is business. What ruins art is business.
Or talking shit,
exactly.
or that I'm better than you,
Ego,
or
elitism.
that person's okay,
Yeah.
or whatever. You know what? I dealt that in the race world this weekend. I actually
Yeah.
didn't play some of the clips because there was mad drama.
I kind of wanted to see that.
But I'm sure,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a good thing because you're bringing up a good subject. Drama and I'm better and the crap that everybody tries to get involved with, whether it's DJing, jet skiing, or fucking anywhere, your workplace.
No, it's in every industry. It's in
It's
in
not
family.
good. It's not
Yeah.
good.
It is. No, it isn't.
But the documentary you're talking about, especially, you're talking about some of the top talent in the trance world, all kind of showing that they all have love for each other instead of, I want to make another million more than you, or I need to build a better track than you, or I want to be higher on the top 100 more than you. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. And
I think a lot of that world's kind of leaving, hopefully.
well, it's not. I think here it is. I think this is what it's about. It's about awareness. I think people are naturally. We learn bad things.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to take it further. I think we inherit it from our parents, and they inherit it from their grandparents. And at some point, it's up. This is why it's so important to be present, because when you're aware, you can break the fucking cycle. You can break
That's
the.
true.
You can stop the negative domino effect.
Yeah.
So, and that was another revelation, and a recurring thought that I've had for a long time. But this weekend, it kind of came to light, and especially now that we have this platform. You know what I mean? The show was amazing.
No, well, I'm happy for you, man. It's been awesome. It's been fun to watch, and
Well, you know what? We'll talk more about Marcus, but I think he saw it in me. Same with Ferry, because they was really, really easy about just like, they were like, hey, they were really easy about actually just getting on camera, and
Yeah, I
it wasn't
know.
about like I had to sign
You're
nothing.
like
We're
the
just
magical Andrew, like you're just Andrew, the magical man, you know?
You know, I'm just dialing into the frequency. I'm just dialing into, just like you. You're doing the same thing. And I think everyone out there, it's like that's the best when you're around people. They're in their element. They're just being themselves. You know what I mean? They're not trying to be more than they are. And why? Because you're already unique. We're all individually unique. We're made all. And there's no two same fingerprints. There's no, everyone's DNA is different. So.
No, but we all got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
We have
we have an awesome guest today, by the way.
we
This is
have-
our first
yeah.
in-house guest into the studio, and I actually opened up for Bad Royale.
Well, this is a very special guest because we've got a lot of history. All of us have history together.
It's
So,
kind of cool. I'm stoked.
Kevin Wild is in the house. He's in the studio, and we're going to bring him on. But before we do that, I want to take a minute to talk about the history we have with Kevin. I was introduced to Kevin, let's see, about 8 years ago. My friend Alex, who used to come to our events, to Elektronik, to VEC, to Flight, and he said, "You got to meet this guy. He's so passionate." And I was like, "Okay, anything for you, Alex," because Alex is such a great supporter. And you know what? Now looking back, that story has so much more meaning because when you're so passionate about something, somebody goes to, it affects other people, and then other people will go out and bat for you. They'll go out and they'll be your cheerleader. They'll be your champion. So I saw that in other people, and actually Kyle is here too. He's a DJ as well, and a lot of the DJs I've met. Somebody championed them. They were passionate. Somebody recognized their passion, and then they came to me.
Somebody pushed their energy and said, "Hey, they're good. They're the
exactly.
bomb. I want you to see this person."
That
says a lot about somebody's character.
It does. And not everybody, and like.
Because I'll be real, if you treat people good and you're good at what you do, and if people are championing you like that, you're on the right track in life, and that's how you make it somewhere in life.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, there's crazy people that could become president and crazy thing, but people champion people wherever it is. But I think at the end of the day, what you're bringing up is how this first full circle thing is. It's like you and I started doing things 8-9 years ago. You met him 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird how everything happens in cycles, and everything happens for a reason. And sometimes you never see it at that moment. But that's why you have to appreciate every moment, because it could come right back around 8 years later and be something totally different.
It doesn't make sense until after you go through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hindsight is 20/20.
And by the way, we're about to go to a clip about Bad Royale, but before we do, we're going to do a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, make sure that you put it in either on, I think it's on, where are you broadcasting on?
I'm broadcasting on all channels.
Yeah.
Andrex on my Andrex personal, on Elektronik Generation, on yours, David
On the
Palmer's.
whitehouse.gov. No, I'm just kidding. I'm on David Lawrence Palmer and the Leo King, and in all my channels as well. So.
And I believe Kevin is also broadcasting on his channel as well. So if you guys have, at any given moment, you guys have questions, please feel free to, just message us.
Just message us.
Message the live feed, and we'll get to them. There's gonna be all three of us. We got it. Yep. So we're gonna go to that this clip we have right now of Bad Royale, and then we'll bring Kevin on. All right, let's go to the clip.
Where me come from? Bad Royale, we a miss a mention. Tell them say them love a free respect.
on, we're just getting ready right now. We're just getting started. Y'all ready? Let me see his hands.
So we're back now with Kevin Wild from Bad Royale. Kevin, what's going on?
Thanks for having me here. It's just tiredness, you know?
We were just talking about that. We were having the
Long
reel of
days
all the-
today.
That badass footage of you guys, like man, like no sleep.
This is the downtime to that stuff, you know?
So you just came off of a flight from Kansas City?
Yeah, Kansas City. We just got off the Steve Aoki tour, Colony tour for his new album we were part of. So we got to do a leg of the tour with him and experience some of the biggest venues in the States.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I have a question. So what is Bad Royale and what's up with all these awesome images you have? Like I'm at the Leo King, so I have like a crown logo and everything, but like where did you guys come up with this concept of the whole Royale and all that?
So the kings represent each of our backgrounds. I'm Norwegian, so I have the Viking king. Elias is half Lebanese, half Spanish, part Spanish, part Norwegian also. So we just gave him the very generic one. And then Bruce is Mexican, so we gave him this like Aztec warrior. So they're kind of bastardizations of our
I think
heritage.
it's super cool.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I think it looks really cool when you guys play. And when I saw the logos and everything, as just a guy who didn't know who you guys were, and then it made me want to look more into you guys' music. It was awesome.
Thank you.
You know what? I just kind of made the connection that you're, with you and the Leo King too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was saying. I was like, who are these guys? It's pretty cool.
The whole royalty thing that just clicked in right now too. You know, the funny thing also is, so the 3X, the name of the promotion company that I booked you guys in and been doing events under. The first original logo was a royalty symbol also as well.
Really?
So it's really it's very interesting how all of that, and we're all, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking
No,
too deep
it's
into
super
this,
cool. What I also want to know, dude, is like, so I heard that you guys were more into trance, and then you guys went to the whole other side of trap, right? Is that the story? Tell us the story a little bit.
We originally started as producers and DJs of trance. That was kind of where our hearts were musically, and we all had solo careers. Bruce was part of a duo, and we ended up moving in together. And when you live with other creatives, you're constantly slinging ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
And that turned into us creating a side project, not thinking it was going to go anywhere. And originally, Bad Royale was named The Kingdom, Kingdumb, because we never thought it was going to be a serious project. It was kind of just to experiment with other types of music.
Yeah.
Because when you do something too much, you kind of get bored, you know, and you have to find some new outlet. And with us for music, it was making trap, and we were really looking to Major Lazer and Diplo and what he was doing. So we were using a lot of dance hall vocalists. We and the project was a total joke. And how the name actually kind of evolved was Elias came up with the branding of it, the artwork and the Kings. And when the project got taken seriously, Diplo told us to change your name.
That's crazy.
He basically told us, imagine winning a Grammy and seeing the Kingdom.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we had this back and forth about changing the name, and Bad Royale came out of it. And it was a massaging of Mad Decent and Diplo and their A&R Paul Devereaux, who really took our branding and changed it into what it was today.
Wow. Well, I think that's super cool, man, because I think especially, what was the year that you guys started it?
We're 3 years old now, so about right at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015.
What did the trans community say?
Well, we kept it under wraps for a while because we were scared of what the reaction was going to be. So we kind of stayed anonymous for a bit, and we didn't show, like, that was why the cartoon picture was made. So, and we pushed that as the forefront of our image for a while, because we still had really active trans careers, and we didn't.
Because you were on Anjuna.
Yeah, we didn't really know how to gear both of those. So this new sound, because there is a big dialogue in the community between changing sounds or trying to evolve what is current in trance.
Absolutely.
So we didn't announce it too early. We really came out when we did these. Battle Royale did covers of Above and Beyond songs where we took them and had other singers rendition them into dancehall and soca, which are Caribbean-based genres. And Above and Beyond loved it. When we showed them it, we thought originally they were going to be like, what is this? But Tony, we showed him one, and he said, you have to do more. Do 2 more, do 3 more, do an EP. And the EP came out as a co-signing between Mad Decent and Anjuna Beats.
Wow.
Which it was a very stark reaction. We had people that loved it and people that hated it. It was almost no one in between. And that was interesting to see. And that was kind of when we came out as who we were, because people knew us now from the trance world and seeing what we were doing now.
And so during that time, were you able to navigate cleanly through the transition, or was there a lot of people that were just like, just throwing jabs at you and saying, "Oh, you guys are,"
Yeah, there was definitely there was definitely some negative reaction to it, but we took it with a grain of salt because we were still doing what we love. At the end of the day, if we can make music that makes people dance, that's what we want to do.
Exactly.
I remember that time. That was you guys did it at the perfect moment, I would say, because I remember the scene got really weird after like 2012, 2013, right there. Nobody really knew what was what because it was the beginning of EDM in a weird way, right? Yeah. So it was like, what is everything now? It just kind of like, genres kind of all started mixing together, and people started to be like, I don't maybe have to be such a hardcore one genre only DJ anymore and stay that till the day I die, because I think that was the mentality for the dance scene for at least the 20 years prior, right? I mean,
a lot of people had trouble changing because of that, the rigid genre specifications, and that if you stepped outside of that box, it was almost guaranteed death.
Yeah, no, so I mean, I think that you guys did it at the right time. I think it's super awesome. What are your guys' goals now, especially with where you think the scene's at? Or where do you think the scene is at right now, and how do you feel that Bad Royale plays into that?
I mean, the music scene in general for EDM, I think, is still really small compared to the other genres that are currently killing it. And like country music was, it's uncomparable. EDM is so small compared to like country. Or even just the general pop realm. So I think it still has a lot of growing, and we noticed that just by being out in those scenes also, because we do a lot of cross-pollination into pop, and recently we did do something in the country realm, and seeing the scope and size difference was kind of mind-blowing, because you go to these festivals and you see 100,000, 200,000 people and you think, wow, this must be amazing, but then you go to a country concert and you immediately remember how small you are.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's like kind of like Coachella, right? Even though the dance tent's huge, right? The main stage is still
or just
huge.
the other countries of the world, you know, like the J-pop, the K-pop, C-pop, Bollywood, Latin, anywhere in Latin America with all the reggaeton. Those markets have their own big pop stars that either we don't hear about or they make it over on one track, and you forget that if you go down there, there's people that you don't know exist that are huge.
That's cool, though. And what have you taken? So is that what you've taken out of this experience by touring the world and everything? Is realizing how much broader the scene has to grow, basically?
It opens your mind, just like traveling does for any scenario. You learn about new things, and those influence you in the way that you, either for us, the way we're producing music or making music, or even who we're working with. And for us, we've taken heart to Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica specifically. We've been there countless amounts of times to work with artists out there because we love the sound, the music, and that's influenced our own music in a certain way, and I think kind of helped us find our niche in the genre of trap and EDM.
What about being in a group? What's it like moving from an individual DJ producer to a trifecta, basically?
Giving up a lot of freedom. you immediately have to back up every move you do with some sort of reasoning. You know, you can no longer just feel good about why you did something. You know, if you think something's good, there isn't just I think it's good and that's why. You have to explain to your other two partners why what you produce should be, you know, because we all are working on music, and we usually have versions of songs, and we'll argue about which one we think should be the finalized version. And so it's when you have so many chefs in the kitchens, whose ingredients are the ones that are used, you know. that is one of the but it also has a great pro to it that you can have so many more ideas out on the stage and get to choose from them. Sometimes you'll be working on something and you won't be able to come up with anything, and luckily your two other partners are there to save you. or
that
give you.
must be nice. That's why I got Andrew.
How's the chemistry as far as like, you know, because typically there's been a lot of, I've worked with a lot of people as far as like partnerships, and this is a partnership too. And what's cool about this is it's extremely organic. It's just kind of like earlier I was like, hey, you want to take a look at something? I trust you, you trusted me. Okay, cool. That was it, you know?
Yeah. I feel like they say like never mix friendship and business, but for us it was pretty successful.
See, that's I like hearing that, because again, going back to what I was saying about Marcus Schultz and Ferry with New World Punks.
Yeah.
That you know, I mean, I don't even, like that, to me that is like a friendship project.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe it's just love and family.
Yeah.
Don't work.
Yeah. So
Because neither one of them need the extra money.
no, yeah,
You know what I mean?
so Bruce and Elias and I lived together for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. So we definitely had a friendship and like a brotherly bond before this even came about. And you know, roommates are pretty hard to come by sometimes, it seems.
Yeah.
So when you can live with someone that long and not be annoyed with them, it seems like the next just general evolution would be
Totally.
starting something together.
No, you're absolutely right. It's very hard to find good friends.
Yeah.
Real good friends. It's even harder to find good friends that you guys have, you know, the same passions.
Commonalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And skill sets.
Exactly.
It's so rare, and you have 3.
Yeah. And when money gets involved, usually that's where a lot of things start to fall apart. But for us, it's been because we're so invested in this project. We all are looking for the same goals. So that definitely hasn't hurt us. There's been no downside to it.
What's your guys' studio to live like balance? Like, would you say you guys are out touring more now and playing more than in the studio, or is it more studio than live, or does it bounce around?
Yeah, we take the above and beyond route where they send 2 at a time. So when we play, we send 2 at a time, and one's always home in the studio working. So the only time we hadn't done that was actually this when we played Tomorrowland, because it was our most pinnacle festival, and then this tour with Steve Aoki, because that's a part you can't miss out on that. It's almost unfair to not have everyone go, you know. So, and it was such an experience that I'm glad all 3 of us were together for it.
No, it's super cool, man. Well, we do have some questions that are actually in the audience. The first question that I saw here, it's all the way up, is What is your guys' ritual before going and playing in front of packed clubs?
As of recently, it's been getting a good video game in. Before we've been
What's
playing,
your favorite video game?
Right now, we've been playing Zombies from Call of Duty. So,
Which Call of Duty?
Black Ops.
Nice.
So that's been like the go-to. It just kind of calms you, you know. That's a new recent thing. Prior to that, we kind of all just meet up, and it was really hard to figure out. There was no ritual. We'd all be working on something. It was kind of like, hey, it's time to go play. You know, save the project and let's go.
Drinking or no drinking?
It really depends. Usually, afterwards, yes. Before, maybe a beer. But we like to stay level-headed on when we're playing. But that is pretty hard to combat when you're in this style of industry.
Do you see the difference in energy dynamics when all three versus two? Or I mean, when we played together live for the first time, it was like, okay. It was like, I felt I'll speak for both of us. We definitely felt the difference.
Yeah.
But do you guys feel the difference between 2 or 3 or?
So we played this just past tour. We played with 3, and it was it is fun having everyone there. And it makes it a lot easier. 'Cause what we'll do is we'll divide up the chores. So one of us will be on the mic, and with our genre of music, the crowd interaction is very big.
Totally.
So having to like banter and have a mic man is a pretty important thing. So there would be one of those, and it was back to back on the decks with the other 2.
Nice.
So that was pretty fun to have that happening. So the main setup was usually me and Elias going back to back, and Bruce was on the mic out.
And you guys are pretty organic as far as when you do your show. Are you guys pretty pre-planned, or do you go up there and kind of feel the crowd and just go into your folders or your?
We keep folders of we have a shared Dropbox that we kind of upload songs to, and we decide what we're going to put on the USB, and then we kind of know this. We all vote on. We play a lot of our own music, so that's kind of one thing that was a really deciding factor. And then we play a lot of edits we've made and just new ideas that we've gotten from friends. And we have these folders that are very specific, and we have our own names on them. So it's like, this is Kevin's folder, Bruce's folder, Elias's folder, and we kind of just choose out of those as we go along. So it is pretty back to back when it comes down to it. Some of the bigger shows, we do have to be a bit more planned, because there's if we're playing with someone we know, we have to be able to plan it like, okay, we're gonna play your song, you're gonna come out and perform. So it'll be like after this specific song.
Got you.
Because just to make things flow easier, or else you look like so scattered on stage, like you don't know what you're doing.
So I got this interesting comment. It's not a question, but I want to get your opinion about it, both your guys' opinion. Somebody said, like, I don't know, dude, Martin Garrix just played the Olympics. EDM is big.
Well, Tiesto played the Olympics too.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Tiesto today.
It is,
ago.
yeah. Compared, I guess what he's saying, from what I'm deciphering out of that, what I'm getting from that is earlier you said that it's still a growing, emerging market. You compare
I
it to
actually
the country.
completely agree with you, dude. Because like I feel like when you look at country music awards, I mean, come on, we don't really have. I mean, the EDM awards,
When we're
right? Is
looking
like
at
what? It's like nothing. It's like,
When we're looking at the statistical analyses, it is very small still. You can look at, you just look at general Google searches.
But here's a couple things that I think, and we don't have this information like ready, but we need global analytics, number one, right? Because if you're talking about U.S. country, then that's all. But now dance music is, it's huge in Asia. You know that.
Yeah,
we all know that. That's the next market, and it's huge. It's been huge in South America, more deep house. But the other thing is, I personally think, and this is just my opinion, I think EDM dance music is more pirated than country music.
Yeah, it is.
Which is
sure.
which is not reported.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get really clear analytics on that.
I would agree with that, and I also think Martin is. I would say he's in the consideration of like the pop star realm too.
Absolutely.
He's gigantic. That's a. Yeah, I think he's in a different level of the EDM echelon to what we would consider like. But yeah,
very commercialized. Yeah,
it's a very good point though. EDM is big, but I think we still have a lot of growing to do.
Yeah, because I think what people think of what EDM is in, like, let's say the Olympics, doesn't represent the whole entire genre of, I guess, the class. Because I hate the term EDM because it got put as a style of music when it's actually really should just be the description of a whole bunch of genres. But does that make sense? It's the only thing to where it kind of is like associated with kind of commercialized dance music.
Yeah, the term definitely evolved into what it was. I remember when EDM was just considered like the bro house music.
Yeah.
Anything that was like Timmy Trumpets or Will Sparks sort of
Yeah.
area. And then it became an overarching word for, I mean, it always had been by definition like electronic dance music.
You guys remind me a little bit of Daft Punk on how you guys, Daft Punk came about, did their thing, and then they got made fun of by this guy writing a news article and called them, oh, it's just a bunch of Daft Punk, right? And it was like, he thought it was a joke. How you guys thought you were a joke, and really it's not a joke. It's awesome. You guys are creating your own music. You're playing it live. You guys are going out. That's the Daft Punk story, man.
Well, it almost seems like it was premeditated because they were like, you know what, we're just gonna call ourselves, because daft is stupid in French, right?
Right.
And it just seemed like they really were geniuses because their first album, okay, so they were called Stupid Punks, right? And their first album was called Homework.
Yeah.
And they come out with a track, I forget what it was called.
You're talking to the Daft Punk, like,
right?
obsessive.
So they were like
around the world, teachers.
Teachers, that's
teachers.
what, right?
They,
so he's talking about Louis Vega,
all the original people that taught them
DJ
everything.
Sneak, yeah. So they were, they were naming off, they were giving respect, and they were like, hey, we're just little guys.
Dr. Dre even.
Right?
In there.
Yeah, and then now they're like bigger than all those guys combined. So it's kind of crazy how, these...
That's the funny thing, though, is like with this whole commercialization, and I want to get your opinion about it. It's like, okay, there's the Martin Garrix playing at the Olympics. That's great. But then you have somebody like Daft Punk who it's like, it's all about the music and the production, and that's it. And they just kind of go into their own world, and they don't have to be like...
Yeah. Well, they've lasted. That's the thing.
Yeah, they have lasted.
They've stood the test of time. Well, what is it? Homework came out, I don't know.
97.
Right? So
But it was all made in 96 in their
30
bedroom.
years ago. Is that right?
Well, no,
20,
wait.
97.
It's 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. I'm the only...
We're not that old yet.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I was going to say I'm the only Asian bad in math. But so a 20-year-old album, and look how many genres and artists have come and gone, but yet they have been maintained. If anything, they've grown. Their last album, they had Nigel Rodgers on it. They had like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, what was it?
did.
Get Funky
No,
is that right? Or Get Lucky.
Get Lucky.
That was the name of the one of the big hits. And I was like, this is so non Daft Punk, other than the vocoder.
Yeah.
We're out to get lucky. And but they, again, they've been able to kind of. Here's the thing with you don't really hear animals anymore, but you still hear like around the world.
Right.
So it's kind of like what as someone that produces aggressively as you, what do you think that kind of magic formula is to kind of have that kind of staying power?
It is so tough to tell what is going to be a good song nowadays.
Yeah.
You never know because there's so many variables, especially at the top of like the whole generation of meme music. People, what was it, Ashton Kutcher, who were recording, they'd go and record random samples from like the Pizza Man. He came, delivered a pizza, and he'd be like, press something on the keyboard, and they'd take it and make it into a song. Yeah. And these songs became huge on Facebook, and then all of a sudden they're now a huge touring act. There's songs that we've heard that have been, you think are going to be hits, and then they just don't get the carrying power that they usually have.
I always think about stuff like the weird stuff like the Macarena.
Yeah.
Like how the hell did that blow up? Or like I Like to Move It, or there's another one with the Korean pop star.
G-Dragon?
Gangnam Style.
Oh, Gangnam Style, Psy.
Yeah. So I'm like, how do these songs like, how do these guys blow up and just get to the level where they're at? Because it's just, it's kind of mind blowing that it's like, was it even premeditated? Did they come out with it? Because I know so many, you and I probably know so many struggling artists that have been working to make serious music.
Yeah.
But yet these joke songs come out and blow the fuck up.
It surprised me even on stuff we've made where I won't fully support a track that we've done, and I'll be like, I don't know how I feel about it yet, and it will come out and stream really well, and I'll just be amazed by it because and it's so hard to tell what it was that made it that way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's got to be. I personally feel like everybody that makes content, period, is always wondering what is, But it's
That's an A&R's job.
yeah. I don't even think that's
No,
the problem. Yeah,
they have
right.
a very hard time with that.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how many songs and demos they have to listen to a day and decipher which one they think is going to be the next hit to sign to their label.
That's like the. I mean, that's
Yeah,
more than just a
but
million
what do
dollar
you
question.
think? Like, I think like there's like this whole like idolization, commercialization, and then like I'll be real. You play in a genre that's pretty cool because it's still got an underground vibe to it, right? So it's like, do you sell your undergroundness ever, or do you have to hold an edge, right? Because I think you lose edge when you go too commercial, right?
I feel like there's a the commercialization is kind of like the end of the envelope of where all the ideas that are below it, like all the underground stuff is where all the new ideas are really happening.
Yeah.
You know, and the commercialization the commercial stuff will come and take these ideas that are successful from the underground and bring them to the forefront. So you do kind of always want to make sure you know what's happening in the underground, and sometimes experiment with those the sounds, the patterns, whatever they're doing, because that's where all the hardcore fans are kind of listening to the new stuff. So you'll find, like, trap is a perfect example of it. It's kind of born out of like hip hop and EDM fusing that people were getting into, and it was considered like the grimiest music at a point.
Right.
And now it's kind of being synced in commercials and videos everywhere because it's catchy. You know?
Well, there's a couple more questions. What was your tour with Steve Aoki like? We'll start with that one.
Oh, the Colony tour was, I don't even know if words can describe it. It was, it was, every night was just mass amounts of people. The energy in these rooms were insane. And like the cities we were hitting were cities that aren't normal for like an act like me to tour to. And we'd go to, you know, the biggest venues in these cities and they'd pack up, they'd sell out. And playing with Steve is another thing. It's such a fun lineup we had. I was on the leg of the tour that had Grand Theft, Bach Nero, and Max Styler on it. And when you're on a bus with people that we'd just met them, we'd only known of them by word of mouth or by their music on SoundCloud. You become so close in a matter of days because you're in close quarters. You can't leave the bus. You know, you're stuck on it for 18 hours traveling between town to town. And
did Steve personally pick every artist, or did he have
so
someone else do that?
the tour was from his album, the Colony, and all these artists were featured on the album at some point. So Dubs, W&W, Yellow Claw are all going to be on the tour. It's still continuing. He's brought in designers on the tour with him, who's also, so all these people were on the album with him. So we had 2 tracks on his album that we collabed on. So it was really good to see the family come together that created this album with Steve. And
you know, for me, I kind of think you guys are kind of like an extension of his vibe too, because he probably was like, because when I put together an event and I put together a lineup, I'm always like, you know, I know this dude and this girl and this person, they're gonna vibe well together, and no one's ever met. And dude, a lot of the people that still stay in touch and still go out, that when we started Elektronik 8 years ago, that are sitting here, you know, like now that we've taken it from a nightclub to, you know, like a media form, it's still that energy, that's still that vibe, that vibe, and you know, the magic is still there. And I guess what's great is we're experiencing it in a new medium now.
Yeah.
Quick question, because this is something that this is a topic that has been that is about the whole show. Also, is what do you do? How do you stay balanced? Because I know you're very,
I try to keep, I try to keep as much as I can to a schedule, and I try and, if I go off schedule, I try and get back on as fast as I can, because you only have a certain amount of hours allotted to the day. But I do try and work out as much as I can. I'll go about 5 days a week to the gym, try and eat well, and just keep my mind clear, because there's a lot of distraction, and I think living in LA too, everyone's like wanting to go do something, wanting to go out, and
you're out a lot too.
Yeah, and you have to learn to.
You network a lot.
Yeah, you do have to learn to say no and like pick your battles. You have to know when it's a good time to go out, or when it's a good time to work, when it's a good time to call it a day and just sit and relax, or when it's a good time to play a video game, because you can get lost and off track very easy.
Totally.
So balance, I on my phone I keep my schedule of what I need to do, and I just try to stick to it as close as possible.
What grounds you? What's that thing that grounds you? Like with David, it's jet skiing kind of in a way grounds you. And there's I'm sure there's other things, but there's, meditation. What's yours?
Yeah, I think for me it is really hitting the gym, because it clears my mind. It gets me to think. I'll go there. I'll really get to focus on me, and I kind of forget the world. I'm doing my own thing, and the moment I come out of that, it's like, okay, well, what's next on the plate?
You're getting that
I was gonna
endorphin
say,
rush.
for me, my wife
Yeah.
grounds me. Thank God I have a wife.
Well, there's several things. There's several. It's interesting. We could spend like a lot of time talking about, like, 'cause there's so much. The interesting thing is you have so many different things going on in your life, and they each.
I think
somehow
we all
they
do. I
balance
think
it,
being
yeah.
a creative is not subject to, okay, I'm just the musician or whatever. I think, like, I always look at Leonardo da Vinci. Like, that guy did it all. So it's like, you don't think of him as like an artist. I don't call him an artist. It's like that guy was a creative that changed the world forever, that echoes throughout time. And I think that's where we're at now in this age. Is I think as musicians, I think it's just one part of our powerful creativity and how we express it.
Yeah.
The reason I that question, I like to, I always look at other people, because, especially successful people, especially in this industry, because it's so easy. It's like you said, it's so easy to get off schedule. But the thing that I found hard was, saying no to fun.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no to fun. Who wants to say no? You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to go from 2 a.m. the club's over. Where's the after hour?
Yeah.
And we're DJing, so everybody wants us to go to the after party. And it's like, it's
The first, second, third
Yeah.
time it's like the hardest. But once you start getting used to being able to say, like,
Totally.
I have to, in your mind that you have to wake up tomorrow and be ready to hit it 100%. You just get used to it and saying, like, okay, no, I can't. And you always think to yourself, like, I want to go, but I know I shouldn't. And it's just it comes with maturity, I think.
Totally. No, I agree.
Mature
And
into
especially
it.
because you're in a group, it's a little bit like a rock band, right? A rock band, whenever you watch those old video movies, or you watch how the Eagles ended up, or like, it's like you've got dynamics that you have to keep together and make sure everyone's on their game, because,
Sometimes they can be bad influences, having your partners with you. But most of the time, luckily, it's support. They're a support system. If the majority is not to go out, then it's way easier to agree with them.
Well, here's the thing. When I go home, I can't even sleep.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's like, so I might as well go out. That's the way. Because I'm already charged. You know what I mean? Like, after a show, I'm like, oh, dude. Like, you still have that. What do you do with all that energy? Like in martial arts, we do, like with Tai Chi, we focus on trying to get the chi out of our body sometimes. So that's but when you're after after an event, like, sometimes there's so much. I mean, it's kind of like
The adrenaline is
especially in trap music.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's all like,
It's pure energy.
It's
Pure energy. There is no like
It's so rock
opening
influenced,
track,
too.
right? Like it's very like, bam, in your face right now. Let's go.
It's 0 to 100 immediately.
Yeah, I know. There is no. That's why I'll admit I love trap, because it really is.
But
like,
it's a different type of energy, because trance is like 140, 150, like boom, like dun-dun-dun-dun. It just really
Trance
fast.
is like very uplifting.
It's uplifting, but the BPM is higher, whereas trap, the BPMs are lower, but it's just, describe that.
yeah.
Describe that real quick.
Well, I want to add to that to get his answer is, so like in trance now they have like all these genres, like uplifting, vocal, dark, progressive.
Totally.
What are they doing in trap now? Because I'm not. Like,
Ironically,
you're right.
Psytrance-
Good point.
Because I don't
there is no
know.
sound.
I don't know.
Psytrance is really starting to break into like the overarching genre of trap. You see a lot of people.
I've heard some of that. Yeah.
You see a lot of people like having these drops that are psytrance influenced.
Totally.
Like the Vinny Vici sort of drop is really catching on to the trap world, and that's being fused with like the sort of sub and drum pattern are staying, and then you're getting these like weird top line synths that are kind of trappy. It's a weird fusion.
That's a wide open game.
Exactly. How would you describe Illenium's music?
It's in the future genres, and it has a very musical theory base to it. So it does have a lot in common with trance, and,
Right?
like, the huge super saw chord leads,
Totally.
and drops.
But it's also has that kind of low tempo, kind of trap,
so
dubstep even.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, depending on how you look at it, it could either be 70 or 140.
Totally, right?
Yeah, and same with trap, it's either 80, 160.
How about mixing trap? Like, I came from house, so
Yeah.
house is, I'll be eating it. Oh, it's fucking easy as shit
Yeah.
to mix, right? Because it's like, okay, whenever I try to mix trap, it's like, man, this is like, ooh, I gotta figure
Yeah,
this
there's a
one
lot
out.
of, like,
there's
it's like-
a lot there.
Yeah, it's usually you're, like a lot. What we're doing is a lot of mixing on the fills. So on the last count of the bar is like where everything's kind of swapping over.
Yeah.
A lot of people will try and use effects to their effects. That's when effects become really important because that can hide a lot of mistake. So using the effects on the DJM is like one of the most sought after things. You have to really learn, or like just learning how to use your loop points because those become common. Having cue points set up.
Yeah, because I was gonna say when trap started to become big around the time that you guys really got into it, I was like, oh, I bought like, I don't know, 20 or 30 trap tracks, and I was like, oh, I'll try a trap mix.
That's kind of fun.
It's not out.
That's kind of fun.
Well, of course it's fun, but I'm saying it's not easy. It's actually
it's not.
freaking technical as hell because the bass lines
Totally.
are so insanely all over the place, and the next track that you're coming in with is a totally kind of different bass line. So it's like, how do you? And it's an art, man. It's an art.
You guys don't play straight trap either. You have a hybrid set too, because you'll go from like anywhere from 70 to 120 to 128 to then the 140 too, right?
Learning how to like mix big BPM
You guys are edit
changes.
masters.
Yeah. Well, so one of the big ways to do it is usually going from a drop to a breakdown and then using your master tempo to quickly change the tempo back to the home tempo. So like you could easily go from 160 to 100 if you know how to use the effects correctly to make it like the drop end up like going into an implosion and then having the beginning of the intro kind of fade into that. And you just don't, those are two different, you can have a 160 to 100 and just use your master tempo, to like switch back. You just got to make sure that you're if you're gonna mix it like in your headphones, you have to make sure that you have your 100 track set on either 80 or 160, and once that breakdown hits in, you hit master tempo, you'll hear it'll go straight back to that BPM.
There's got to be, there's got to be some practicing involved in there.
You can't. It's very hard to long mix those. You can't like mix.
Yeah, you can't just be like mixing
It can't
two
be
tracks for a
traditional.
It's not
while.
128 where you have like a minute
That's what I
mix.
noticed because I'm a house
Yeah.
DJ, old school, like funky underground. That's my history. So it's like, we used to do 2-3 minute mixes. And
like trance, like we listen to State of Trance.
Oh yeah, I could just.
You can hear Armin's minute mix. You can hear like the hi-hats come in, the claps come in, and then the breakdown. Doesn't happen in
No,
trance
I
like
got to
that.
give you props, man, because I tried it myself, and I'll be honest, I was like, well, me and trap weren't meant to be. I was like.
That's why we had direct music service.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, that's the thing is Andrew and I both we had our genres. I came more house, he came more trance, and we've kind of had to learn for opening up for big DJs like you guys, right? It's like we just can't play that way anymore. We have to be able to play multiple genres and multiple BPMs. So, we can. Of course, I can do that now, but like trap, I would say is the hardest to mix out of all of them.
It can get pretty hard.
From my experience.
Yeah.
I would say hip hop's easier. I would say all the other genres that I've done is easier.
Yeah.
But this is your world, so you're like, oh, I don't know. But like to somebody else, man, I would say it's the hardest.
No, and then you go watch like Laid Back Luke or A-Track, and you're just like, what are these guys are insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all these DJs that we're talking about, they all specialized, I think, in certain areas. Laid Back Luke is definitely more of he's the DJ's DJ, you know? And some guys are way more specialized in producing a certain style of music. Speaking of that, we want to go really quick. Actually, I definitely, Kevin is gonna hopefully stay with us for this next part. But we have a clip that
I actually don't think it got loaded. I just went back there and it didn't get loaded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So we'll have to show it next time. But we did have an exclusive clip from. We'll share it after the live video. But we have an exclusive clip from Marcus, and it was great because Marcus is, I want to take a second to talk about Marcus Schultz because this guy has done, he's done a lot for dance music. But the thing is, he's also, most trance artists come from Europe, right?
Yeah.
And Marcus is, he's born in Germany, but he made his name through his radio show, Global DJ Broadcast. And I remember listening to that, I think in the 2000s or 90s.
Man,
I don't even know
like,
how far it goes back.
Yeah, I think like 2003 or
But
4.
it was, an amazing show. And
I just remember being at raves watching him at like Together as One, like back in the day,
Yeah.
and hearing him throw remixes of Message in a Bottle and stuff, and being like, "Wow."
But he's, I had the opportunity. Well, I've opened for him before, but for this particular time, I opened for him in Omnia San Diego. He, he's actually one of the him and Above and Beyond are probably two of the most difficult artists I personally have to open for because they are so specific about what they want their opener to play. In fact, Marcus usually brings his own, but of course, a lot of the times the venue wants to use their own artists as well because their artist brings people as well and books, bottles, whatnot. But I was very nervous opening up for him because the last time he had his own artist open up. So I opened up for his artist. I think it was Dave Nevin, and it was funny because this was at Omnia like about 3 months ago. It was me, Dave Nevin, then Marcus, and I remember the artist liaison was like telling Dave, dude, can you like bring up the energy? And this was at Omnia San Diego, and Dave turned around and was trying and told the artist liaison, Marcus is very particular about how you open for him, and the artist liaison's like, well, he's looking at like he's frustrated because he wants that he wants the like the crowd to be popping bottles and he wants people drinking.
He wants the club.
He wants the club to go off. He's not concerned about proper format.
Yeah.
But being for me, I was like, shit, I'm walking on egg crates here. I gotta be making sure the house is happy. I gotta make sure the artist is happy. And that happens. I get put in a lot of situations, and fortunately, I'm able to.
Worked out good for you.
It worked out good, but I was really, really nervous because I knew how Dave, his last opener played, and I was like, shit, I gotta go down to that level. So, but I pushed it, and then Marcus came up and he tapped me on the leg just to let me know he was there. The first thing I said to him was, if I'm playing too hard, please let me know. I'm playing at this energy because the venue wants me to. I don't mean to disrespect. And he smiled at me. He said, "You're doing fine. You keep going. You're doing great." And it was great because it was sincere. And I've talked to him before. We've never talked we're not friends. We've worked together on stage before. But to hear him say that, it was awesome. And the other thing was when it was his time to go on, because he got on a little bit. He doesn't have a tour manager, so he did his own. He put in his own USB drives and whatnot, and dialed in his own settings. And when
Which I think a lot of people should do.
it's
Not that hard.
no, it really isn't.
I know.
But that's a whole
nother show.
Yeah, really, it really isn't. It's funny, but yeah, you're right. Do you guys do your own?
Yeah, we do our own.
That's what I was gonna say. High five because that's the real
There's
shit.
3 of us.
Yeah,
I know. It's like, come on.
Somebody's gonna have to know
But
how to
this
put
is a
the
good
USB
thing to
in there.
bring up.
Yeah.
Do you guys get weird about your opening DJs if they play a certain way?
No.
No,
I
it's
already know it's
not for us.
Yeah.
But I can understand there is an old school way of thinking in
Of
there.
course.
Like opening a format, opening a club. There's a respect to it, and I think
Yeah.
sometimes even
9 p.m. at hardest
Yeah.
you can doesn't really.
yeah. I mean, there have been times where Junior Skrillex has been in the room opening for us, and I'm thinking like, man, this guy is crushing. But it doesn't matter because we can do our own thing.
Yeah.
We're
cool.
gonna bring our own game.
Yeah. You guys got it. I like that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, it was great to have you, man. How do people
Thank you.
find out about you?
SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Bad Royale,
At
right?
Bad Royale, all of them. So,
And that's Royale with an E,
yes,
right?
with an E, because we're very classy.
Like a Royale with cheese.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I was thinking too.
Was
Very cool. So I mean, one last thing. I mentioned last time when we had the clip of Ferry about his documentary, and some people asked about it. So I want to take a minute and let everybody know about it. There's a documentary out by Ferry Corsten, and it features, and it's free. It's on YouTube, and it features Marcus Above and Beyond, Marcus Schultz Above and Beyond, Cosmic Gate, Armin, Ferry Corsten, and it's about Ferry Corsten's one of his aliases, Goriella, and Goriella was him and Tiesto. And I want to encourage you guys to all watch that. And why? Because I think it's a perfect example of how music and these guys are. It's just they're doing it the right way. That's the best I can say. They're hugely successful. And they're they don't have to do any gimmicks or any tricks, and they're able to sustain and be hugely wildly successul, and yet not have to do any gimmicks. And there's nothing wrong with doing gimmicks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything about it at all, because everyone does what they have to do. But it's just amazing to see the what these guys have been able to do with just integrity and music. That's it. And I definitely I respect that, because it's not everyone can go that route. Not everyone can kind of sustain that for whatever reason these guys have. And again, the video is free. I want the interesting another reason why I like the video is so Goriella is a project that Ferry had with Tiesto, and a lot of people don't know that, but which makes it even more interesting because. Tiesto now has gone a completely different direction. But the first thing when you watch the video, the first thing that pops up is there's this huge there's text that says, "Where did we come from?" That's what. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. This is not even about This is supposed to, I thought this was going to be about like Ferry in the studio, but the first thing he puts up there is, "Where did we come from?" And then the next thing is like another text, kind of like Star Wars text, just popping up at you, saying, "We are engineers." And then another one comes up and says, "But who engineered us?" And it's so mind-blowing because it's fucking spiritual. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, dude, a guy on that level is putting stuff out like that. I love it.
I think that's where it goes. I think that's where it goes with things is it always comes back to, it's not about the money, it's all about sending a message to people.
Totally.
And wherever that message goes, it's beautiful. It was great having you on today, man. And I think Bad Royale is showing that you guys are definitely royal and definitely hold the integrity and know how to do it. And it was a pleasure to have you on.
No, it was great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I want to thank the audience again for your support and everyone that's tuning in right now. And I sent Kevin a message literally about 10 hours ago. "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I'm like, "We got this show. Come down." And he was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So, and this
Pretty
is
cool.
literally
Thanks,
6 weeks ago. This is how we started too. 6 weeks ago, he was like, "Hey, I got a warehouse. Come down." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And now we're all here. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. Everything so much. And we will see you guys.
What about Friday night?
Friday night, guess what? We're going to be at Omnia. We're going to do Electronic Generation Meetup. More information is coming soon. Direct message either David or I, and we'll get you more information about that. But that's going to be a great night. ATV is going to be in the house. Again, Omnia San Diego. Also, March 17th, we're going to be at Avalon with Dirty South. And we're doing another Electronic Generation Meetup. Live filming. You guys were there for time. You guys know how crazy we get.
Yeah. So if you're in LA or if you're in
Kevin, when's your next show?
We're off until Miami Music Week, so we'll be around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're 2 weeks
take
off,
that
and
good
then
break
the
and
music week comes.
Yeah.
Production time.
So Miami, you're gonna be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Awesome.
6 days, I think. So looks
Right on.
like it's gonna be fun.
Let us know if you guys are going to Miami. Maybe we'll do an Electronic Generation meetup there too. All right, guys. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Signing off.
Peace.